Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant, and today we're going to be talking about another word that we've all felt at some point in our marriage. And so last week we started we had done this little exercise where just on our own we had gone through a bunch of words that we felt like marriages face at some point during their marriage. And last week was alone. We talked about alone. And we're not calling this a series because I don't know if we'll do one of the words next week, but we're doing another one this week. So this week, the word that we're going to go and kind of hit on is the word incompatible. And so we're going to talk through just how many marriages get to a point where they feel like I'm not compatible with my spouse anymore. And maybe I married the wrong person, or, you know, there's something better out there for me because we are nothing alike. And so we're just going to talk through that because I think everybody feels that at some point.
Yeah. I do too. And I don't think that people feel that way at the beginning of their marriage, because if you did, you wouldn't walk down the aisle. Like, I think everybody thinks they're compatible. And then also I think that people, if they think they aren't compatible in ways, I think that they have the feeling that they balance each other out. Like, I think that was like when we walked down the aisle, I thought we were perfectly compatible. And I also thought that your strengths, maybe I had weaknesses in, but then I had strengths and your weaknesses. And so I think that when people look back to the day they got married, whether that was a week ago or 50 years ago, they thought at that moment they were compatible. Mm-hmm. But I think that what happens is over time, you grow and you change. I mean, we were married when we were really young, and we're very different people now than we were then. But we're still compatible.
Yeah. So do you think that during, 13 years ago, when, for those of you who don't know our story, Heather confessed to being unfaithful, and did incompatibility even play a part in that, like in your thinking?
Probably so. But I don't know that it was truth. You know, I mean, like, I've talked before about how my mind and my heart were not believing things that were true in that moment, or because if I was, then I wouldn't have made the decisions that I made. But I think I kind of convinced myself that we were incompatible. I'm having trouble.
It's a hard word. We should have picked a different word today.
That I think I made myself believe that we were incompatible in ways, and that maybe there was somebody else out there that I would be compatible with. And this has come up in our marriage coaching a lot recently. Mm-hmm. That's why we talked about this word when we made kind of our list of words that people may feel along the way in their marriage. And this has come up a good bit. Mm-hmm. Like somebody saying, you know, we're just not compatible anymore, or she's not meeting my need anymore, or she used to do this and now she doesn't anymore, or he used to do this and now he doesn't anymore, or maybe I need to find somebody who could do this for me. Like, this isn't just a word that we came up with. Like, it's been heavy in a lot of sessions lately.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons why I kept thinking about it so much over the last couple of weeks is this. I think this last week we thought of the word a couple of weeks ago, and then this week I had come up. You were doing a one-on-one session with another lady on Zoom, and I brought you some coffee, and that because I had to leave and go somewhere. Yeah. And when I left, I was leaving, going back downstairs, and I heard her say, "Oh, y'all are so cute," or y'all just seem so happy. And she said, "Every time I see y'all," she said, you're you're just so happy. And she said it, and she's going through what we went through 13 years ago. And so she made the comment and said, now that I've gone through this, I see what a miracle it is that y'all are in the place that you are.
Right.
And I know we haven't even talked about that. Like, I don't even know that you know that I heard her say that. But I started, as I left, I started thinking about that and how, I mean, we are so happy right now. Like, we, I feel like we are in as good of a place in our marriage as we've ever been. We are extremely madly in love with each other. At least I am.
Yes.
And
I am too.
And I do think that people can see, like, social media and stuff that we put out, because we're putting videos and things like that. And I understand that most of the time when people put out stuff on social media, it's staged, it's not real life. But, like, we're putting things out there that are real. Like, we are really, that's who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that people look at that and they probably think, oh, they're just so happy. They must have so much in common.
Yeah.
They must be just alike,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I got to thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, we enjoy being together, which means we must have some things in common. But the more I dug into it, I was like, we are so incredibly different.
Yeah, we are.
And so what I want people to hear from this podcast is we are as happy and as in such a great place, and we love doing life together. We are incredibly in love with each other, and we are so incompatible.
Oh boy.
We are extremely different.
Okay.
In a lot
Agreed.
of ways. And what we've done with that is we've learned how to lean on each other's strengths and pick each other up in weaknesses and almost celebrate the things that are different about us. And it's also made us have to really, really work at, we don't use compromise and negotiate because we don't like those words. They sound pretty negative. But we've just figured out how to be really giving and serve each other.
Yeah.
And not try to change each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a massive list.
Oh gosh.
Like a massive list.
Well, I saw your notebook.
Yeah.
Are they bad? Are you telling them bad things about me?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of bad things about you. Well, some of these are really big. They're big items that, I think every couple probably has a couple of things that are like, man, we're so different on these really big issues. But then there's lots of, like, little things. But the little things, I truly believe that the people out there that start focusing and their eyes are just on themselves, what they start doing is they start looking at all these little things, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. And they're like, well, we shouldn't be together because she doesn't even like to do this, or she doesn't even like this, and I love this. So how in the world, like, I'm going to go find somebody out there because they're just like me in this way, and we'll be perfect for each other. And it's not like that's not what makes a happy marriage. The happy marriage is just doing life together in the midst of all of your differences and incompatibility.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Right.
So let's go through some of these. You're going to have fun with this.
Oh gosh, I'm nervous.
And I want you may think of some other things, okay? But I mean, the top two are the two things that the world says the top two reasons that people get divorced is because of differences in these two areas. And we are very different in these two areas.
Can I guess what they are?
Yeah.
Money?
Yeah.
Sex?
Yeah.
Are those really them?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
why'd you think it would
No,
be?
no. I mean, you didn't tell me that was them. So I was
Yeah.
just making sure I was
Yeah.
right.
No.
I figured it would be.
No.
So money, we are so different. I love to spend money.
Yeah, you're terrible at money. You don't even think about money.
I do. I've been doing so much
do.
better
You do.
lately.
Yes.
I have. And you love to save. And you balance everything and you understand everything. And I don't. Okay. Is that all on money?
If you're done, if you want to move on to the next thing, we certainly can.
We're very different. In that
we're
area.
very different. You don't, I mean, you're not wired to, you just don't care to know and to learn about it. And that's not a good thing. Like, I hope people out there that are listening are like, okay, we both need to participate in the finances. But the point here is that we are extremely different. That I really, really care about the finances. You really, really don't care about the finances. But
I do better.
yes,
I've been doing better.
Yes, in some ways.
Okay.
All right.
Number 2, sex. We are very different. And this is not uncommon. We have lots of people we journey with that they're different. You're very much physical touch, and I am very much.
You don't even know what.
Yes, I do.
Because it's different than what it was yesterday.
I'm very much, I've just lost the word, quality time. Very much quality time. So I love to lay on the sofa and just cuddle and watch a movie. But I know that if we cuddle on the sofa, you want it to lead to something else. So that is a way that we are incompatible, but we've learned to figure it out. Like we have things that we do to avoid conflict in that area.
Yep.
Yeah. So we talk about it beforehand, or, your whole, is this cuddle or cuddle with a chance? And then you just know what to expect, or we do the thing before, so then we can just cuddle and not have to have that on my mind all the time. But it's lots of communication, of talking through. We are very different in this area. But how can we be happy in this area?
And I think where people get really hung up in this, and we could get hung up here, is because of how much people change over time. And you have certainly changed over time, because that's not, probably most people when they get married have a different sex drive than I'm 50. You're close. But I think that, there's health, there's having kids, there's
having cancer,
yes,
put into premenopause. There's lots of health things that go into why I have changed in that area.
That's right.
And then you are like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, I am.
And still act 18.
Yeah, I am 18. I feel 18.
Yeah. Not that we did it when we were 18. We didn't.
No.
I just was saying like an 18-year-old.
But I wanted to. I can promise you that. No, but I think that's hard for if one spouse has not changed over the years. It's hard to understand that.
That's right.
And then it becomes personal. Like what happened to me? What's wrong with me that you don't feel? And then when you throw in what we went through 13 years ago, then it just heaps layers onto it.
Yep.
And so, so that's something. I don't know. That's just one of those things that when I look at that area, it's just a miracle. It's a miracle that that we are. It's a miracle we're still together, for one thing, but a miracle that we just are in the place that we are in our marriage because of everything that happens, or that happened 13 years ago. But then just to throw incompatibility on top of that, it's just like, man, God's done some massive things. Okay, so...
God has done some massive things, but we also really work hard on it.
Oh, gosh,
like we
yes.
know that we're incompatible in that area, and it is having a servant's heart.
Yes.
And is serving your spouse in the way that they need to be loved.
Because it's not fair if we're extremely different and we don't give in those areas.
Right.
I mean, even with the finances, I don't tell you that you can't buy things. I mean, there's some breast cancer survivor shirt sitting down there on the counter right now. You didn't have to ask me if you could buy that. And I mean,
but I told you that I did.
You did. That's it. You always ask for forgiveness instead of permission. But I don't tell you. And like, if you need things and want things, you can get them. And sometimes you do. You're like, hey, are we okay? Can we? And I don't, I mean, I rarely say no. And where I could say, hey, we really need to be using this for something else. But it's just, we give. But in the same way, you don't ask for every single thing that you want. So, all right. Okay. When you're thinking about our incompatibility, man, I sound like we're just terrible for each other, don't I? When you think about our incompatibility, those are two major things. Can you think of other major things? Because the rest of the list of about 15
I can't think
things,
of any other things.
You can't think of any other things where we're different? Okay. Well, I'm about to rock your world, and when we get done with this, you're going to be like, gosh, we are nothing alike. So I just started thinking through.
Wait, I have one.
Okay.
You like Ole Miss and I like Alabama.
That is one.
But we both love college football, so
well,
that's fun.
Okay, so that is, we love sports.
Yep.
But we love two different teams, which sometimes that's worse than loving sports together.
Yeah.
So it does make it hard. No, that is one thing. All right. So I'm going to just, hey, have you ever thought about how different we are in these areas? All right. So one is our idea of a vacation. So I know that some of that has changed some, but you love the beach. I don't love the beach. And there's people out there, though, that's a big deal to them. Like, they're like, I'm not compatible. And, like, my spouse doesn't even like to go to the beach. I want to go to the beach. I love the beach. Well, we don't love the same thing. And we've had to work on that and find ways around it and deal with it. Okay, again, this may seem really small, but our choice of movies.
Ooh, I love me some Hallmark movies. And you can't like them. Man, the other night, Rusty was like, okay, we're going to watch a Hallmark movie. And I was like, yes. And my friend had told me that there was a really good fall one on. And so I Googled it. I figured out how to watch it. We sat down. I was so excited. I looked over and you were freaking snoring.
Well, let's be honest.
It was a good one.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
But I only slept for like 15 minutes. And then there was a soccer game that you had already told me I could put on my computer and put beside me while I watched the Hallmark movie. So, see, there's the compromise.
Yes. No, we don't like compromise.
I mean, whatever. All right. So, but we do like some of this. I mean, you like a good action movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like a good rom-com sometimes. But, yeah, I mean, you would sit there and watch those Hallmark movies all day. And I'll watch them with you occasionally. But ain't nobody got time for that except you and some other people out there. Okay. We talk about this a lot, but just the way that we connect with God is very different. And, I think that people get hung up there sometimes because they think their spouse is supposed to be like them. And if they're not doing what they're doing, then they're not connecting with God.
That's right. And that is so unfair.
Yep.
Because everybody connects to God differently. And as long as your spouse is searching for the Lord and working hard in the way they connect with God, then leave them alone.
Yep.
You are not their Holy Spirit.
You already mentioned love languages.
Yep.
But our love languages are different. Most people out there, their love languages are different. And I find it really odd, though, that people can, I guess because it's a real common thing and there's a book written about it, that your love language is not the same as your spouse, and everybody's like, oh, okay, well, that's okay that we're not compatible in that way. But then there's all these other things that we're not compatible with that's not okay. So our love languages are very different. And I mean, that's very normal. So most people that are listening, your love language is different from your spouse. And that's why you love your spouse in the wrong way, because you're loving them the way that you want to be loved and not the way that they want to be loved. Okay, how about just what we enjoy about exercising?
I can't like to exercise. It's not exercise time. I am totally going to use that on a reel this week. Remember that sweet, I'm not going to say her name, but she said, it's not exercise time.
I've never seen that.
Yes, you have.
Oh,
yes, you have. Okay, anyway, I shouldn't say that. I do love to exercise, but I do not like to exercise how you exercise.
Yeah, I mean,
you like to run.
That's right. And if I said, hey, you want to go for a run with me? You'd be like, have you lost your mind?
That's right.
Like, when is the last time you ran? Like, probably 10 years ago or more. You don't run.
You
Honey,
don't.
you don't jog.
But I wouldn't expect you to go to bar with me.
Nope.
You would hate it.
But there's spouses out there that they want their spouse to do what they enjoy. And if they don't, there's something wrong. I'm not compatible with this person. I need to find somebody else that I should exercise with.
To be fair, we go walking together.
We do.
Because we're like, that's something we can do together. And we may do that once a week or twice at most.
Yep.
But we try to do it every now and then just because we can do that together.
What we should do after this is, because I still have quite a few more, but what we should do is we should see who listens to this very well, and we should do some quizzes on our Instagram and see who listened. Yeah. Okay, which one of us likes to do this and which one? All right, because some of these are getting even kind of funny. But I've started thinking even about food, and
I love me some sweets, and you love you some salty.
Yes, and even on the salty side of things, you love a steak.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of, I mean, I'll eat it, but like I don't crave that.
You want some fajitas.
Yeah, I do. And but we're just really different, especially just like you said, sweets, and I don't care about sweets at all. And so yeah, I mean, like it's
even
hard.
On restaurants,
it's hard to find
dinners
things
and,
that we want to eat. Okay, so like house projects and things. Oh my gosh. Like you would change everything about this house every other day.
Not every other day.
Oh yeah, you would. And I'm fine. It looks great. Let's
leave it like it is.
Leave it like it is and roll on. No, but I do like that you like to change it, but I would never change things, because I'm like, I'm not wasting my time doing that stuff. It looks fine. But you like the freshness and doing things different and making things look a little different. Okay, this is one too that I had to really work on, is how to actually clean and straighten things or whatever. But like, you left today you had to go somewhere, and you were saying all the things that we had to do, and one of them was clean the house. And when you left, I looked around and I was like, what needs to be cleaned? Like, there was not even anything out of place. I was like, if somebody walked in our house right now, they would go, does anybody live here?
That is not true. Our house is very homey.
Oh, it's homey, but there's nothing out of place is what I'm saying.
That's because everything has a home.
Yes, see, everything has home, and that's important to you. It's not as important to me, but by golly, I make sure everything has a home. That's why our house always looks clean. Okay. How about music?
Oh, that was a good one, Rusty.
I've got lots of things up my sleeve.
I love country music.
I can't stand it. It's terrible.
And thankfully, both of our boys love country music.
And then when one gets stuck in my head, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like it is like I'll wake up in the middle of the night singing about Tennessee Orange
and Lucky Dog.
And I'm like, get this out of my head. But yeah, we're completely different. Okay, when we go on a trip, the way we prepare for a trip, you don't prepare for a trip. I prepare for the trip, and you're just going along for the ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just different. You're just like, tell me where to go, when to be there.
I'll be there.
And yeah, what are we doing next? And I want to have every single detail. How about, is one of us typically on time or early and the other one typically late? I'm just curious.
Next.
Oh my God! You were on time for church this morning, and I was singing.
Walked
and
in the sanctuary,
and
you looked at your watch, and
from up on stage, I was like, "Oh, look at this!"
And then we have a countdown at our church, and I still had 15 seconds until church started.
Miracles.
Yep.
Okay, I thought about this. We're not really that far off, but what about just like bedtime? Because I think this is a big deal for some couples because one couple one likes to stay up late, the other likes to go to bed early, and then they're not compatible there. They don't feel like they're compatible there, and so it causes all these problems of we're not going to bed at the same time, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, here's the thing: we typically are about on the same schedule, but I do feel like if you had a choice, you would go to bed much earlier than me. So, but we just, for whatever reason, it usually just falls that way. But in the same way, one of us loves the snooze button.
That would be me.
And you ask me all the time, you're like, how do you just get up? Like, well, what is the alarm there for? It's telling you to get up, and you will hit that snooze over.
Well,
and over.
if I want to get up I don't want to get up at 5:30, but I have to get up at 5:30 to do my deal before school because we have to be at school at an ungodly hour. And so I set my alarm for 5:21 because I don't know why, but my alarm clock is 9 minutes.
Yeah.
The snooze button is 9 minutes.
Is that like a universal thing?
I don't know.
Who
Why
knows?
9? But anyway, so I set it for 5:21 so that I can hit snooze and then get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
And it happens like that every morning. Just once. Snooze button, just once.
Bull. See, we also are very not compatible because she lies. And I'm not a liar. I tell the honest truth. Okay, even sleeping in, though.
Yeah.
Neither one of us really sleep in, but if you had the opportunity, you would definitely sleep in. I cannot sleep in. Let's get up and get moving. I don't wake up early. I mean, I don't love to wake up early.
Yeah.
But normal hour, normal time, I like to get up and get going. Now this may seem a little bit silly, but even our idea of fun, like at an amusement park, I love roller coasters. You won't get on a roller coaster for nothing because it makes you sick. So, like, I know that people out there are going, most people, somebody's like that. But if you're like, well, I can't even go to a amusement park with my family because my spouse won't get on a roller coaster, But we've figured that out too. So
I'm the junk holder.
You jump. Oh, you hold the jump.
I stand in line. I wait in the long line. So it's not like I'm just all by myself. I wait in the whole long line with y'all. And then we get up to the front and I take everybody's glasses and their hats and their cell phones. And I hold all the junk until you get off the ride.
Yep.
And it's my joy.
Okay. When it comes to like birthdays and anniversaries, or
I have a big birthday coming up.
I'm fine with a surprise. Like, just do something. You're going to make me happy. You, not so much. You asked me today, what you doing for my birthday?
Because it's a big one.
I know, but see, I trust you. I believe you. I love you and whatever you do, but you're like, no, don't go do something I don't want. Like, let me tell you what I want, and then you do that. Oh, Lord. Okay, so what else? Can you think of any? That was a lot,
That's
right?
a lot.
And then it makes you go, well, what do we have in
That's
common?
right. Mm-hmm.
And but we say all of that because those of you that are out there going, we have nothing in common. How are we? We shouldn't even be together. Well, we're just saying we love this life. I texted you that this morning and
You
said, I love this life that we have. And we're so incredibly different.
Yep.
But I think where we have three things that that kind of fall in line, and it lines everything up. And the first one is that we both love Jesus, and we are not perfect, but we, for the most part and most of the time, we are chasing after him and our relationship with him. And then we love each other. All the things that are different and all the things that are alike, we just love each other just the way we are. And we also love our family, and family and our boys. It's a big part of who we are, and we're definitely compatible and on the same page when it comes to that.
Yeah. When you were listing all of those things, I was praying in my heart that it would be an encouragement to somebody that they are not, completely compatible with their spouse either. But yet there's such a hope for them having joy in their marriage. And one of the things that I really have to work on is knowing that just because you do things different doesn't mean it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times, and in the past in our marriage, I've felt like, well, he doesn't do that like I do, or like I like, or like my dad did, or, just how I've known. And so it's wrong. But instead, it's just trying to look at you for who you are and who God created you to be, and being okay that we're not the same. I mean, it would be boring if we were the same. Yep. It just would. It would be boring if we liked the same things and liked to do the same things all the time and ate the same food all the time. It would be boring. And so, we teach our children that it takes so many to make the world go round, and different personalities and different desires and different talents and different gifts. And I think it's the same in marriage. And so if your spouse is on your nerves because they're so different than you, try to look at them as a creation that God made, and that he made them like they are for a reason and for a purpose. And that if that's not exactly like you would desire, or if it's changed over the years, try to love the person that they are now, and just be patient with that, and communicate that, hey, I know this is how you want to be loved, or this is how you are, but I sure would love it if you could do this for me, or love me this way. Or, you have to be able to communicate that. And so I hope that this has been an encouragement to you. Honestly, I would have picked money and sex. That's it. But you came up with some really big ways that we're incompatible. But it just makes life fun.
Yeah, I just don't think it's fair for people to look at other couples and just go, oh, they've got it all together. I wish that, even if we saw a couple that we're like, oh, we need to be more like that.
Right.
Or,
yeah.
But when people look at us, I hope they go, man, like, they are so normal and so different, and they are so in love.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And yet they're so happy.
Yeah.
And so in love. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So I hope it's an encouragement to people.
Yep, me too. All right. Thanks for listening this week, guys. And we'll see you guys next week on the Redeemed Marriage Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.